There's a moment in every trader's life where they realize they're not investing, they're gambling. The pros had that moment too. The difference is they did something about it. Most traders didn't. In the next 12 minutes, I'm going to walk you through the 7 mindset shifts that separate professional traders from people who merely think they're trading. These are not strategies, these are not techniques. These are psychological transformations, and if you haven't made them, no strategy in the world will save you. Some of these shifts will feel uncomfortable, some will feel almost offensive. That discomfort is the point. It means you're at the edge of where you currently are and where you need to be. So if you're ready to find out which of these 7 shifts you've made and which you've been avoiding, keep watching. Because by shift number 5, most viewers will have already clicked off, and that itself is the lesson. Before we get into the 7 shifts, you need to understand what we mean by professional trader. We don't mean someone who trades for a living. Plenty of gamblers trade for a living until they go broke. We mean someone who has not had a losing year in 5+ years. Someone whose returns are boring, consistent, and uncorrelated with their emotional state. That trader is rare. According to most studies, somewhere between 1% and 4% of active retail traders are net profitable over a 5-year horizon. The other 96% to 99% are gamblers. They just don't know it. They think they're trading. They have charts. They have indicators. They have a system. But underneath all of it, they're gambling because their decisions are driven by emotion, not by an edge. The 7 shifts you're about to learn are the psychological line that separates the 1% from the 99%. Some pros made these shifts consciously. Most made them through pain. Either way, they made them. And until you do, you will keep losing money in ways that feel mysterious but are actually completely predictable. Let's begin. The amateur trader tries to predict what the market will do next. The professional trader accepts that prediction is impossible and instead trades probabilities. This sounds simple. It is not. Because almost everything in trading education, every YouTube video, every course, every guru, implicitly teaches you to predict. This stock is going to $200. Bitcoin is going to $100,000. The market is going to crash next week. All predictions, all useless. The professional doesn't say this stock is going to $200. The professional says, based on my setup, there's a 60% probability this stock moves up meaningfully over the next 2 weeks. If it does, I make 3R. If it doesn't, I lose 1R. Over 100 trades, this setup makes money. That's it. That's the shift. From, I think this will happen, to, the math says this setup has positive expected value over a large sample size. The pro doesn't need to be right on any individual trade. They just need to be right over 100 trades. The amateur needs to be right on every trade, and so they torture themselves trying. If you've ever felt personally betrayed when a trade went against you, you're still in prediction mode. The pro doesn't feel betrayed. They feel like a casino owner. They know some hands lose. The math handles the rest. Amateur traders worship confidence. They think the best traders are the ones who feel certain before every trade. They're wrong. The best traders often feel uncertain before every trade, and they take it anyway. Because their conviction is not in the trade. Their conviction is in the system. This is a critical distinction. Confidence says, I think this trade will work. Conviction says, I don't know if this trade will work, but I trust my system over 100 trades, so I'm taking it. Confidence is emotional. Conviction is mathematical. Confidence fluctuates with your last 3 trades. Conviction stays stable whether you've won or lost the last 10. Most amateur traders can't take a trade after 3 losses in a row. Their confidence is shot. They second guess everything. They skip the next setup, which, of course, is the one that would have made back the losses. The professional takes the same setup after 7 losses in a row, not because they're brave, because their conviction is in the system, not in the outcome of any individual trade. This is the shift that takes the longest to make. It usually takes 2 to 3 years of live trading, but until you make it, until you can take the 8th trade after 7 losses with the same exact risk and execution as the first, you are still trading on confidence, and confidence in the market gets you killed. This is the shift that sounds the most counterintuitive, and the one that separates real pros from people who read trading books. The amateur trader's primary goal is to make money. The professional trader's primary goal is to not lose money. Making money is secondary. It's a byproduct. It happens automatically when you stop losing. Think about it like this. If you lose 50% of your account, you need a 100% gain to get back to break even. If you lose 75%, you need a 300% gain. The math of drawdowns is brutal and asymmetric. Losses hurt more than wins help. So the professional obsesses over capital preservation first and growth second. This shows up in their behavior. The pro sets tighter stop losses than the amateur. The pro walks away from a trade faster when it's not working. The pro sizes positions smaller than they could. The pro is willing to make less on each trade in exchange for never blowing up. The amateur thinks, if I make 10% a month, I'll be a millionaire in 5 years. The pro thinks, if I never have a 30% drawdown, I'll be a millionaire in 10 years, and I'll still be a millionaire in 20. Same destination, very different road. The pro's road is slower, but it actually arrives. The amateur trader thinks more trades equals more money. The professional knows more trades equals more fees, more slippage, more mistakes, and more emotional drain. The pro takes fewer trades than the amateur, often 5 to 10 a month. That's it. Here's why. Most setups are not worth taking. The amateur takes them anyway because sitting in front of a screen and doing nothing feels like wasted time. The pro has trained themselves to feel comfortable doing nothing, to wait for hours, for days, for a week if necessary, for the setup that meets all their criteria. Warren Buffett famously said his favorite holding period is forever. He also said he could improve most investors' results by giving them a punch card with 20 punches. They could only make 20 trades in their entire life. They'd be forced to be patient. They'd be forced to wait for the truly great setups, and their results would dramatically improve. This is the shift. From I need to be in the market to I need to be in the market only when the market is offering me something exceptional. 90% of the time, the market isn't. 90% of the time, the right move is to sit on your hands. The pros have made peace with this. The amateurs never will. This is the shift that breaks most retail traders in the modern era. The amateur trader consumes more information. The professional trader consumes less and filters harder. The amateur watches CNBC in the morning, follows 30 traders on Twitter, reads Bloomberg, subscribes to 4 newsletters, joins 3 Discord groups, listens to 2 podcasts a day. They believe more information equals better decisions. They're wrong. More information equals more noise. More noise equals more emotion. More emotion equals worse decisions. The professional has deliberately reduced their information diet to almost nothing. Maybe 1 daily market briefing, maybe 1 weekly macro update, maybe a private group of 5 other traders they trust. That's it. Everything else is noise designed to make them react, and reactions are how pros lose money. This is why most retail traders who quit Twitter for 30 days see their P&L improve. It's not magic. It's just that without 47 opinions screaming at you all day, you can actually hear your own system. You can take the trades your system tells you to take, instead of the trades some influencer just shouted about. If your research takes more than 30 minutes a day, you're consuming noise, not information. The pro's research is done. The system is set. The only question is whether the market offers the setup. Everything else is a distraction. This is the shift that separates traders who last 2 years from traders who last 20. The amateur measures success in wins. The professional measures success in survival. The amateur tracks their best month, their biggest win, their peak account value. They tell stories about the time they made $20,000 in a day. They ignore the 6 months that followed, when they gave back $35,000. Their identity is built on their peaks. The professional doesn't even know their best month off the top of their head. They know their average month over 5 years. They know their worst drawdown. They know their Sharpe ratio. They know how long it takes them to recover from a 10% drawdown, typically 2 to 4 months. They don't measure peaks. They measure consistency. This shift changes everything about how you trade. When you stop chasing wins, you stop taking stupid risks. When you start optimizing for survival, you start sizing positions correctly. You start respecting stop losses. You start walking away from screens when you're tilted. You start treating your account like the only thing standing between you and a job you hate, because that's exactly what it is. The pros who survive 20+ years all share this trait. They are not the traders who made the most money in their best year. They are the traders who lost the least in their worst year. The market rewards survival. It punishes brilliance. The sooner you internalize that, the sooner you stop losing. This is the final shift, and it's the hardest. The amateur trader's identity is wrapped up in being a trader. They introduce themselves as a trader. Their social media bio says trader. Their self-worth rises and falls with their P&L. A good week makes them feel like a genius. A bad week makes them feel like a fraud. The professional has detached their identity from their trading. They are a person who trades. They are not a trader. Their self-worth is independent of their P&L. A good week is just a good week. A bad week is just a bad week. Neither defines them. This shift is the hardest because it requires giving up the very thing that drew most people to trading in the first place: identity. People become traders because they want to be the kind of person who trades. They want the lifestyle, the clout, the story, the identity. And the moment that identity becomes more important than the process, they start making decisions to protect the identity, not to grow the account. The pros who reach this shift often describe it as a kind of ego death. They realize they are not their trades. They are not their account balance. They are not their win rate. They are a person, and trading is just one thing they do. Some of them quit trading entirely after this shift because they realized the obsession was never about the money. It was about the identity. And now that they've let go of the identity, they don't need the trading. That's the final secret. The 1% who reach Shift 7 are, paradoxically, the ones for whom trading matters least. They trade because it works. They don't trade because they need it to define them. And that distance is what allows them to execute without emotion, decade after decade. So how many of these 7 shifts have you made? Be honest. Most viewers will find they've made 1 or 2. A few will have made 3 or 4. Almost no one watching this has made all 7, because if you had, you wouldn't need this video. The good news is, shifts, unlike strategies, can be made instantly. The moment you see the shift clearly, the moment you understand it intellectually, you can choose to operate from the new mindset starting with your next trade. You'll still slip back. You'll still catch yourself in the old pattern, but the choice is now conscious. And conscious choice is where all real change begins. Subscribe to the 5% Mind. Every week we go deeper into the psychology that separates the 1% from the 99%. The next video is about the 7 phases every future millionaire trader goes through. I'll see you there.